Alright, welcome to another day of Ether Raids here. I'm just going to show you this highlight here. I'm going to chop it up. This is a Tina infantry line team. Now, I can't beat this. And the reason that I can't beat this is because of Tina there, who is just that good. There's nothing that I can do that isn't countered by this Tina. All of my teams are pretty much countered by that one unit. If you're going to try to omni-tank, then you're going to be putting buffs on your unit. And if she steals your buff, you're not going to be in a good position, especially when you're taking into consideration that you need penalty neutralization to take on dual Sanaki. If you don't have that, then you're dead. And you're going to need some type of AoE protection to try to tank that green. So this is a very good combination of units, which is actually the same combination that I went with last week in my defense replays that I showed off a little bit. There's no way to counter this combination currently in the game, unless you're going to try to player phase this in some way. But the thing is, because of how this map is laid out, you don't have much of a turn one. You can try to initiate on perhaps Medios by trying to gamble a trap, or if you have, well, Altina, Edelgard is not beating that Altina, which is another one of the reasons that I wasn't able to beat this. That Altina is very strong. I have very few counters to that unit also, so that's another thing that I can't beat. Plus, she's going to be getting the near save buff from Soren, which is going to make her pretty much unstoppable. And you don't want to be tanking a hit from that Altina. So, yeah, not much that I could do here. Pretty much I'm just going to end up moving my units for a little bit, and then I'm going to surrender. So I'll spare you the 7 minutes of it and just cut to the end. But I think if I were to cut this short, I'd probably just say, if you didn't pull for Tina, you should probably try and get her, which is going to be pretty hard since Colorless is very terrible to pull on, but she is a very, very strong unit. I expect to see her even outside of her bonus week. If you can incorporate her in your defense in some way, you probably should be doing that because she's so anti-meta. I mean, the other team that I have was the Pathfinder team, and there is no way I'd be using the Pathfinder team against this, because the Pathfinder team has a status effect for Pathfinder, and if Tina steals that status effect for Pathfinder, you've basically lost on turn one. So yeah, this is not something that you want to try to tank. You don't want to try to bait this out. You don't want to try to hit and run this. There's no hit and run in this. You're not gonna hit and run this unless you can somehow take out Tina on the first turn, which would make it a lot less threatening. But both of these units here, Soren and Medius, both have cancel control, so you're not running away. So the only other option that I was thinking of was to try to take out that Sanaki and then maybe trying to back out, but it's very awkward to approach from that lane there, which is what I ended up trying to do, but it just didn't work. So yeah, I'm just going to cut to the part where we surrender here. Not much else to say. Very, very good defense. I did come up against one more Tina line, but unfortunately I forgot to hit record. Another good defense there. And that one I actually tried to show what would happen if you try to bait it. But I had no options in terms of how to beat it. Tina, again, very good unit. I don't know what they're going to do to... I don't think there needs to be any counterplay to Tina, because really what she does is she limits your ability to use your status effects.
What do we do?
So there really shouldn't... Like, look at that. Like, come on. I don't know what I'm going to do against this Altina and bonus week. But yeah, they're really there's not a way, unless you're gonna have like stall, because the big thing that typically happens with these types of defenses is that they get +1 movement, because usually we have +1 movement somewhere, or from agreeing given the +1 movement. That usually works out in their favor, but yeah, without stall, then yeah, tough luck. You're not gonna win. Dual Thor, or anyone else that provides that stall status to multiple units, that's probably what you want to be doing here. But GG's, let's cut this and move to the next one. Alright, so at this point I am down to 2 ladders, and we're facing Cutlass here. This one, pretty straightforward. We got a lucky break for the last match for the week after 2 Tina lines, and yeah, sometimes it's good to have a little bit of luck. This one we're just going to throw Fjorm into the mix, and Fjorm should be able to solo this map. Low difficulty. The scariest thing here is going to be the Hell. Yeah, I mean, after this, what I'll probably do is just go over the defense. I'll probably just add it to this video because I'm not gonna make a replay this week. I kind of like I made some mistakes in terms of I swapped out my defense midweek and I put out the wrong one, and it kind of just ruined everything. So there's really no reason for me to make a defense replay this week. So yeah, I'm just going to, I don't know, maybe I'll just cut this one short altogether so that with other friends replays it won't be too long of a video. Because from here, Fjorm just cleans house, and I get the pots. Didn't need the pots, but, you know, habit. So here we go.
Excuse me.
And let me just break a couple of structures here. Let me just give a quick review of this Lumera. Trash. Absolute trash. Aside from the stone terrain, which you can probably get from Korin as well. Yeah, trash. Not a good mythic. Yeah, not a good mythic. I don't know what mode. Like, she's not even good in Ether raids. I think ultimately I summed it up well in calling her Ceros 2.0, because that's really what she is. Not very good. They should have. I think they try to balance her stats too much, which ended up being not the best thing for her, because she's not the fastest and she's not the tankiest. She's kind of mid lane overall, and it does nothing for her. So yeah, not a good mythic. Don't think we're going to be using her after her bonus season, especially because all she gives is the defense blessing. Yeah, there are better blessings within the light mythic tiers. She is not very good. But anyways, let's cut to the end here, so I can put the defense replays in and then close out the week. I couldn't cut out the action. It's just Fjorm like doing like, you know, the most. So I figured I'd just put it in. I don't know, just watch Fjorm be Fjorm. Gato does do some stuff a little bit towards the end here, but most of it is pretty much Fjorm with bonus doubler, cutting through pretty much everyone here. Hell +10. Once she doesn't have her weapon fully active, isn't very strong, so that was pretty easy for Fjorm to deal with. And then Alfred here, just probably like a good introduction to rearm units, but overall not a very good unit. He has a lot of potential. I'm kind of like looking forward to what his refine would be like. Yeah, he has a lot of potential as a well, maybe they don't even give rearmed units refines. We'll see what happens with that, but yeah, Fjorm show. And once we take out Nagi, Gato can get a couple of licks in. Overall, I think from the batch of units that have come out since Book 8 has started, Tina, I feel, is definitely the best one to come out so far. Kind of like what Asker brought to what Asker brought to the game when he was first released. That's kind of what Tina is currently. She's just very, very good. Especially with what the meta is, very status heavy. It's going to be interesting to see how she evolves as the meta progresses and how useful she'll be in modes like Ether raids. Unfortunately, she doesn't work in Summoner duels, so we'll see what happens there. But let's add the defense replays in. Okay, here we go. Let's look at what's going on with defense here. This week we I didn't really put a lot of effort into the defense. This was basically a rerun of the defense that I used previously. The previous light season, I just didn't change anything. Well, actually, I did take out one unit and put Shez in. I don't remember. Oh, right. It was the light mythic, the dark mythic rather. Kavesar. I took her out and put Shez in. But this isn't like a good team. I didn't really do very much with it. I was really just trying to see how the new skill or emblem mechanic functioned on my units here, or just functioned overall. Shez is supposed to be here to take out Byleth, but she can't do it in 2 hits because she can't get her special off. So that's what ended up happening there, and yeah, we lost. It did end up being like the first two matches weren't like really the best because I didn't have much of an opportunity to test out the defense before I actually just put it out. Kind of threw it out there, just trying to see what happens. This was a really good clear from someone that we've matched into before. It's kind of weird how I end up matching up against the same people multiple times. It's like no one else plays Ether raids when there's at least 3,000 other people who play this game mode. I mean, the leaderboards tell us that, but usually I get the same person more than once. Really nothing that you can do against this AoE clear here. There isn't a armored unit that can tank that AoE. Well, Nagi, but again, she's green. Probably would have still died anyways. Green isn't a good color for armored units in general because there's so many red threats. And from here, you can see the chain. Just a beautiful chain here, just coming in and taking out every single unit. And then he's going to pin, I think, Nino here. Nino, I did vote a couple times for Nino on the Hero Rises. I really want to get some more fodder onto this Nino. She's such a good unit. So yeah, I'd be really happy if that ends up happening. But overall, perfect clear. Not really much else that I can say. I didn't rematch anybody this week because I just wasn't. The defense wasn't actually built out, so I didn't really feel any need to avenge my my losses. So it kind of just went unnoticed. I'll take a couple more test runs with the defense before I actually put something else out, because we're going into Chaos season, and Chaos season isn't like the best for defense or just the best game mode in Fae overall, I would say. Really just kind of bored with it, but it's whatever. And then light season again, I'll probably put something else out, depending on who the mythic was. I think I was really just bored overall because the map was just, I've been using this map for at least a month because Kavesar is a cav, and you really want to take advantage of that mobility, and this map gives me the best possibility to utilize that. Well, there are a couple others. I mean, I could have used the Cavline map, but it's really just, that map isn't very good. The only unit that makes that map good is Tina, and Tina's just a good unit. Now, this is actually a pretty interesting clear. I was so shocked that Summer Edelgard here was actually able to take out Zelgius. It was very surprising. She was taking a couple of turns here just to clear the map and trying to get herself set up. And once she did that, you see the strength here of full penalty doubler and bonus doubler, and Zelgius just crumbled here, which was very surprising. Like, wow. And there goes Zelgius, and then from here, pretty easy cleanup once you have some Edelgard. I do get a kill here because didn't escape far enough. Also, just not enough spaces for them to escape Nino. Nino is literally here just to terrorize you. You can't run away from this Nino. Well, unless you didn't have this many units to choose from. Yeah, Nino covers pretty much the entire map. So Nino picks off Peony here. Unfortunately, if Nino had picked off Edelgard, who was the main carry, this would have been over and done with, but yeah, that's not how the AI mechanic works. It's always going to go after whoever has the most health, and that was Peony in that instance. So from there, I finally decided to build a new defense. This was like the middle of the week. And this was eventually what I decided to do because I didn't want to use the Cavline map. I think that map is done. I've seen some very fantastic clears with Tana on that map, and I think that map is pretty much just donezo. Yeah, so I wasn't going to use that map. The problem with this team is that there isn't anyone to take care of a fast God Sword. Igreen is good with the AoE, but there's a lot of ways to protect yourself from AoEs. With this, what's her name? Lumera, who is probably just good for AoE protection. But aside from that, Shez, I finally got the Shez to work. The only thing she was missing was Desperation 4, and there you go. Can't stop her. And I think this is really her full power. I was running a miracle build, but then I realized that if she's killing you with lethality, then she doesn't need the miracle. It does help in enemy phase if she were to potentially die, but once I'm able to get the dance in with Triandra, it usually works out in my favor. So it wasn't necessarily needed for this particular defensive build. There were a couple people that were able to successfully clear the map because of Milla in one instance and Summer Fjorm, who unexpectedly someone else had a plus 10 Summer Fjorm because that's exactly what you need to beat this map. So yeah, someone used Summer Fjorm against me. There are a couple other God Swords that could have done it, but you needed to have them at plus 10 or at least be able to survive Igreen, who does hit very hard with that AoE. And there are a couple of God Swords that could have done that, but Summer Fjorm is probably the main one because of the null counter disrupt. If your God Sword didn't have null counter disrupt, then you would have lost to Tina. Yeah, so one of the few defensive replays that I have is of someone with a plus 10 Summer Fjorm doing exactly that, which is very funny to say because I feel like there aren't that many of us, so it's always good to see another Fjorm enjoyer. So yeah, we got that replay a little bit later on. And for here, just a couple of people that just decided to take out my units. Really not that much happening here. And eventually, I think this person, well, you would have seen it early on. I think I killed like 4 units here. But yeah, that AoE Go Vegas, again, really nothing you can do about the AoEs, man. It's just unstoppable. It's a little bit unbalanced currently, I feel, with how easy it has gotten to be able to ramp into AoEs. It was the main appeal, or the main, not appeal, the opposite of that. The main thing stopping people from running AoEs was how high the opportunity cost was, where the cooldown was like 4, so it was unreliable to get into that cooldown without messing up your entire strategy. But now it's so easy to get the 4 cooldown now that everyone is able to just run their AoE without any problems. But which is why I was saying that it's kind of unbalanced. But I'm not the first person to say that. I don't know what they're going to do with that overall, because they are making AoEs more powerful these days. There are so many things that are adding on extra damage on top of AoEs that it's kind of like getting to a point where you're never going to be able to stop the damage or reduce the damage from AoEs. Lumera is a good way to counter it, but I mean, you're still going to take a ton of damage unless you have a highly invested unit. So, I mean, 50% of 100 is still 50, which is a lot of damage. That's a lot of damage. Most tanks aren't going to be able to survive that, especially depending on what the follow-up that comes behind that AoE unit is. This is one of the reasons that I ended up not running a defense replay this week, because I ended up messing up and taking a -90 because I put in the wrong defense. I was testing out some stuff for Chaos Season and I forgot to take it down. So yeah, no point in making a defense replay with that in it. It's just gonna be a little bit confusing as to what's going on here. So I figured I'd just do this instead and explain. So yeah, my bad. Really messed that up. Shez didn't attack here because Shez isn't fast enough to get the effective damage against Godsword, which is why I said that I do have that specific weakness. And because Milla isolated Triandra, I can't get the dance off, and it kind of ruins the entire chain. If I had a recovery skill, this wouldn't have been possible, but as you can see here, they weren't able to damage any of my units. And the setup for the following turn would have meant that they would have lost a unit, so they decided to surrender there. This is a good approach, except that you can't escape, really. Yeah, I have cancel control, so they were bound to lose a unit here. And again, isolation, which is the bane of my existence. I was considering running two healers, but you lose a lot of killing power with more than one healer. Healers don't, as you all are aware, put out the most damage, so you really want to be running the bare minimum to make your defense work or to make your tactics work. And in this case, Tina is providing something that no other healer can, not in terms of damage, but in terms of stealing your status effects. This is unavoidable. I really wish there was a way for your tank to survive that combat against Sanaki. I don't know if you need someone that neutralizes their own penalties, but because you're not gonna be solo on defense, so Sanaki is gonna be able to get the damage in, regardless of how you set up your defense. So it's hard to avoid your save unit getting sniped by Sanaki, which is why saves are in such a weird standing on defense, because solo, it's hard for them to be solo. Yeah, Byleth is still good, but Sanaki can still just do that, and you have no answer to it. There's literally nothing you can do about it. As you can see, we did take a couple of losses, and we did get a good lift loss control hold. But the losses weren't necessarily like the worst thing in the world this week, because a lot of this was really like a test just to see how the defense would function with Tina, and it functioned really well. I might use this setup again without Shez. Shez was really there just to kill Byleths, but that also left a hole in the defense against Godswords, as I mentioned earlier. So it has to be a specific unit selection. I had in this particular setup last week, I had Sanaki as my Godsword killer, but this map doesn't work very well with Cavs. So if Sanaki went first and got danced, then there's no way for her to pass the terrain, obviously. So I have to find an infantry unit or just some other unit in general that can fulfill that role for me. Crom Legendary would have been a good option, but there just aren't that many good nukes in the game currently. So you just got to deal with what you have, use what you have, and hope it works. Yeah. breaking structures, as you can see here. Really not much going on in this one. I think they were taking their time to try to approach, but I don't know why they didn't initiate from the spot that didn't have the trap. That was a little bit weird. But as you see, their trap placements are important. And this one is, as I said, Fjorm. Fjorm wins. I can't outspeed her. Shez doesn't get the effective damage. The AoE damage is not enough to take her out. And Tina dies. So overall, it's not the best week on defense, but we still stay in the vaults, which is great. And I'll get everything set up. Hopefully I'll be able to put out a defense replay, not Chaos Season, but in the light season to come. There's really no point in doing one in Chaos Season. I'll probably do another one of these recordings, but GG's.